The best Netflix movie in ages is rated 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, but not enough people are watching it. I've been eagerly awaiting the Netflix release of His Three Daughters all summer long. Back in June, I labeled it my most anticipated Netflix movie of the year. And with expectations that high, there's always a danger that the final project will disappoint. Fortunately, His Three Daughters, which landed on Netflix on September 20, met and even exceeded my expectations. It was everything I wanted. The drama is anchored by three impeccable performances from Carrie Coon, Elizabeth Olsen, and Natasha Lyonne, and tells a tender and emotionally captivating that plays out with relatable honesty. It's just one of the best Netflix movies of 2024, but one of the best Netflix movies ever made. Having dropped last week, the movie quickly found its way into the Netflix top 10, peaking at number 2 on Saturday, September 24th, but it's already starting to fall down the pecking order, with new additions to the Netflix library, The Garfield Movie and Evil Dead Rise, overtaking it, and even older originals Rebel Ridge and Uglies, pushing it down to number 5. Its odds of claiming the coveted number 1 position, or even becoming a movie that floats around the top 10 for several weeks, appears fairly remote now. On the surface, His Three Daughters, being ranked as the 5th most popular movie on the platform 5 days after release, might seem respectable, but it could send a dangerous message to the streaming service bigwigs and lead to more straight-to-streaming slop. Here's why its lack of the number 1 trophy feels like a big deal to me. His Three Daughters is among Netflix's best of 2024. Before I dive into my concerns that His Three Daughters failing to reach number 1 might teach Netflix the wrong lessons, please allow me to briefly gush about this phenomenal drama. As the name suggests, it follows 3 estranged sisters as they reunite in their father's New York City apartment to care for him in his final days, following a battle with terminal cancer. Almost entirely set within this single location, with only a few excursions outside to a courtyard bench so one of the characters can smoke. His Three Daughters has a real theatrical quality. It feels like an adaptation of a stage play. Some viewers might find this quaint scope limiting, but writer-director Azazel Jacobs uses the confines of the apartment setting to great effect, making sibling squabbles feel claustrophobic, and letting the 3 central performances carry the movie. Plus, by the end, the apartment feels almost like a home of your own. With so much resting on the trio of daughters, it's a job thing. The cast comprises 3 of the most talented actresses currently working in Hollywood. Each sister is very different, but Coon, Lyonne, and Olsen are all fantastic. Coon's Katie is highly strung and quick to anger. Olsen's Rachel is neurotic and desperate to keep the delicate peace, while Lyonne's Rachel is the supposed screw-up of the bunch, still living at home, but underneath it all, she's the true beating heart of the family. Across the movie's 101-minute runtime, we see just a snapshot of their lives, catching them each in one of the most stressful situations any human can endure, the death of a parent. But viewers are given a rich insight into their personalities. We see their family dynamic evolve, past resentments bubble up, and are dealt with or left to fester further. All these elements add to the movie's raw and relatable portrayal of what it means to be part of a family. Oh, and you'll cry. A whole lot. Failure to make the grade could have consequences. My concerns that His Three Daughters' failure to rocket straight to the number 1 spot and make significant waves on the popular streaming service primarily stem from the fact that Netflix's movie division underwent a significant restructuring earlier this year, with key and long-serving executive Lisa Nishimura and Ian Brick leaving the media company entirely. In a subsequent report from The Wrap, an industry distribution executive, speaking anonymously, said of the change, "There are concerns being whispered around the industry that this move from Netflix could be signaling an end to the high-quality content we've seen them get behind in recent years, and, potentially, a return to the more formulaic, sure thing kind of content that is lower cost, but more certain financially." In recent years, Netflix hasn't been shy about courting acclaimed directors and giving them sizable budgets to create passionate projects for the streaming platforms. The legendary directors that have teamed up with Netflix in the past several years include Martin Scorsese, The Irishman, David Fincher, Mank, The Killer. Noah Baumbach, The Meyerowitz Stories, Marriage Story, White Noise. Spike Lee, Da Five Bloods, Alfonso Cuarón, Roma, and plenty more. These prestige movies often don't make the same impact as Netflix's most conventional, dare I say, mass-market flicks. And with the changes to the streamer's movie division, I'm concerned that awards-ready movies like His Three Daughters may be among the last of a dying breed. The movie being met with a relatively muted interest from subscribers compared to other Netflix originals released over the past few movies certainly isn't going to help either. A quick comparison paints a somewhat bleak picture. His Three Daughters managed 4.1 million global views in its first 3 days per Netflix. Meanwhile, the schlocky sci-fi YA adaptation Uglies, which earned a pitiful 16% critics score on Rotten Tomatoes and only 45% from viewers, scored 20.8 million views in its first weekend on Netflix. Which type of movie do you think Netflix execs are going to focus on next?